All right. Welcome to the Let's Talk Travel Spain show. Good evening. I'm Sue Montgomery, one of Rolling Meadow Library's reference librarians. Tonight, I'll share some fun things to know about Spain and all the great travel resources the Rolling Meadows Library has made available to you. Between the books and DVDs right here and all the travel resources you can visit online, it's a snap to learn about any destination. Delve as deep as you have time for. Or just give yourself an overview of any place in the world when you start in our amazing travel collection. We have books, movies, and online resources. We subscribe to a multitude of online services. I'll be telling you about all of them later. On your computer or on one of ours, you definitely want to go to ricksteves.com and watch some of his videos. I got a lot of the information for this talk from Rick Steves' travel talks on his website and from our library's Rick Steves Spain DVDs. We have many travel books about Spain and its regions. I put some of them on the table, but there's quite a few more downstairs. Tonight, I'll talk about some sights and cool things to do in just a very few amazing places in Spain, and also about some of its famous artists and their works. Spain is sunny, energetic, intriguing, captivating, and almost the farthest south and almost the farthest west European country. It's also one of the 7 original members of the European Union. Spain is bordered on the north by France, on the west by Portugal, and on the east and south by the sea. It's one of the largest countries in Europe and about the size of 4 good-sized U.S. states. Its north and south coasts are both on the sea. It's perpetually warm, most pleasant in spring and fall. April and September are great times to visit Spain. And the land it's on is known as the Iberian Peninsula. We'll start our sampling in the northeast, in the seaside city of Barcelona. Barcelona is fascinating. Barcelona's history goes back to Roman times and before. It's been a major city for 2,000 years. It was founded as Barcino, by Emperor Augustus about 15 years BC. Many ruins still remain from Roman times, as do samplings from all the history ever since. The Moors came next, and the Moors ruled Spain for centuries. You can learn about it all at Barcelona's Museum of History, located in the center of its Gothic quarter. Talk about layers of time. Barcelona's excavated Roman ruins are located directly below the palace courtyard where Queen Isabella and King Ferdinand welcomed Christopher Columbus back from his voyage to the New World. This is Barcelona's Gothic Cathedral. The cathedral is in the Gothic quarter, a fascinating area. Though many buildings from the Middle Ages are no longer standing, structures made of stone like this one have lasted through the ages. Wandering around Barcelona, you can't help but encounter lots of public art, like this mural on the Ramblas, Barcelona's main pedestrian street. Miro was a surrealist painting from Spain whose bright-colored works are world-renowned. And the Ramblas is a grand boulevard that takes you from the elegant main square to the port in a 1-mile walk past historic pieces of this great city. The route is an endless stream of people and action. Another famous Barcelona artist is Antoni Gowdy. Gowdy's magic is on full display in colorful Park Güell, a 30-acre hilltop garden that's now a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Beyond its often crowded walkways, Gowdy's Park Güell offers fanciful views at every turn and natural organic shapes and colorful mosaic tiles throughout. Oh, you know what? I was going to turn off the lights. I can go do that real quick. Oh, thanks, Mike. I was thinking that's so hard to see. Maybe that'll help a little bit. It's a little bit blurry, but you get the idea. When you're in Barcelona, Rick Steves recommends you go to a bar, have a seat, and enjoy some tapas. He said, don't order food right away. Tapas are often served without asking when you buy a drink. You eat them with toothpicks, and when you leave, the server just counts up the number of picks on your plate to know what your bill should be. I like that, right? I can't exactly tell what all those things are, but they look kind of wonderful. This looks like maybe real thin sliced ham rolled around something else. Hard to say, yeah. Definitely worth checking out in person, right? Some of the city's finest modernist architecture is in the Extension neighborhood. It features broad streets, lots of eateries, and fancy shops with pricey clothes and jewelry. Big time. The most famous building in the Extension neighborhood is the Sagrada Familia, Sacred Family. This cathedral is Anthony Gowdy's most famous work, an ultimate modernist style masterpiece. Construction started in 1883 and has gone on ever since. Gowdy devoted his life to the construction of the Sagrada Familia, yet when he died in 1926, less than 1/4 of the church was finished. Its soaring towers and elaborate forms make this a must-see. The Sagrada Familia is one of the top things to do in Barcelona. Mike, can you turn off the rest of the lights too? Thank you. People have been attending worship there almost since construction was first started in the late 1800s. Some of the project's greatest challenges are still ahead, including the construction of 10 more spires, each symbolizing important biblical figures in the New Testament. It is hoped construction will finish up by 2026, the 100th anniversary of Gowdy's death. So, a few more years. Can you imagine working on a building for that long?
It's amazing.
It's mind-boggling, but I can see why it would take so long. It's really interesting to go right up to it and look closely. There's so much to see. The leafy green and red doors of the Nativity, for example, have hidden bugs, lizards, spiders, and insects. The closer you go, the more you can spot. I don't know if you can kind of see the little ladybugs crawling up those leaves. I don't really see any lizards in that particular insect. Here it is in the midst of the city. So you can see how it's sort of a refuge there with all the greenery around it. And in the distance you can see the sea, I think. Here's another modernist building designed by Antoni Gowdy. Casa Mia is a private home and was built in Barcelona between 1906 and 1912. Today it's part tourist attraction and part private residence. Here's another example of a private home Gowdy designed. It has elongated windows and a roof resembling a tile-covered dragon. Gowdy's avoided straight lines as much as possible. His audacious designs were a huge change from all other 1800s buildings. I don't know if you can tell on that slide, but it's really colorful. Though we've only sampled a few of Barcelona's unique sights, it's time for us to move along to Madrid. Do you guys think I should close those blinds? Maybe that would help. Thank you, Mike. See if this makes a difference. Is that better? Hopefully it's better. Thank you, Mike. You could drive or take Spain's amazing high-speed railway system with cars that travel almost 200 miles per hour. Following Rick Steves' lead, I'll start out talking about Madrid's art. If you like to see art, Madrid's leafy Paseo de Prado and Prado's Art Triangle is the area for you. Prado's Art Triangle has lots of landmarks, an astronomical observatory, 2 famous fountains, and the Royal Botanical Gardens, but it gets its name from its 3 art museums. This is the Prado Art Museum. And this is Museo Reina Sofia, which showcases 20th century art. And its most famous painting is surely Pablo Picasso's Guernica. It's a very large monochromatic oil painting of struggling people and other things, I can't exactly tell what, and it was painted in 1937. The longer you look at it, the more confusing it seems. Yeah, very Picasso. If modern art is not your thing, 2 other art museums are nearby. The Thyssen has rotating exhibits of pieces by Dali, El Greco, Monet, Picasso, and Rembrandt. Some date back to the medieval period, others are from the 20th century. And Spain's greatest national art museum, the Prado. The Velázquez entrance features a statue of Diego Velázquez, one of Spain's favorite artists. It's open long hours and has free admission every evening. The Prado Museum has the world's largest collection of paintings by Goya and Velázquez, plus a fantastic collection of works by Rubens, Titian, El Greco, and many others. I said Rubens, but I meant Rubens. This famous Goya is the 2nd of May in Madrid. It depicts Madrid riots after Napoleon invaded. Unlike most war paintings of the Renaissance that tended to portray battles as glorious, where'd it go? Unlike most war paintings that tended to paint battles as glorious, there's nothing glorious about this painting. It's the first time an artist ever made war look dark and horrific. A battle snapshot created in 1814, long before the camera was invented. And this is just a small portion of Diego Velázquez's Les Minas at the Prado. It is by far the most famous of the museum's 120 Velázquez paintings, and one of the largest and best-loved artworks at the Prado. The first thing you see is the girls, but if you look hard, you can see Velázquez painting at an easel on the left behind them. As I said, the painting is huge, about 10.5 feet tall by 9 feet wide. You can read a whole long description and all kinds of cool factoids about the painting on Wikipedia. Evidently, the youngsters are not playing or dancing as I thought. It's a 5-year-old countess in a white dress and her attendants. The kneeling one on the left is holding a tray with a drink, and the little people in the front corner are actually 2 dwarfs, one with his foot on the dog. Okay, moving on and out. This is a typical Madrid street scene. And nearby the museums, Neptune's fountain was designed of white marble in the late 1700s. Neptune, the crowned Roman god of the seas, rides his chariot triumphantly. His trident is in his left hand, and the other hand mightily holds a sea serpent. It's kind of hard to tell, but it's kind of wound around his arm all the way up. The fountain of Cybel has become another of the city's icons. Cybel was an ancient goddess. You'll find this one in the Royal Botanical Gardens, which is also right by the art museums. Plaza Mayor in Madrid has been the town's main market space since the 15th century. It's just a short ride away. Bullfights, games, executions, and ceremonies have taken place here over the centuries. Today, street artists, shady umbrellas at chic cafes, and lots of statues and public art are all around. They make it a must-see. Plaza Mayor has actually burnt down several times, so today's buildings all date from the last time it was reconstructed in 1790. When I think about the age of that country compared to ours, like in 1790, what were we doing? Like we just barely had signed the Declaration of Independence. This is the Royal Palace of Madrid. It has lots of different entrances. This is just one of the facades. And of course, like everything else, it's been rebuilt many times. It's on the site of a 9th century Muslim fortress. With more than 3,400 rooms, it's the largest functioning royal palace in all of Europe. I can't imagine living someplace with 3,400 rooms. Like, how could you even find your way around? Don't worry, I'm only going to show you a couple of them. Those are big tapestries on the wall, and I think that might be a carpet on the floor. It's hard to say, but it could be.
It is, it's a carpet.
It's a carpet?
You got it.
Wow, isn't it amazing? It's ginormous. It's so big. And this, of course, is the throne room. One part of the throne room. Puerto del Sol, or Sun Gate, is the public square in the center of Madrid, a super popular tourist site, and within walking distance of the Royal Palace. Puerto del Sol has been here since ancient times. The name means sun door, for the eastward-facing door to the city that was engraved with a rising sun. It's the starting point of all major roads in Spain. Ever since time immemorial, the 6 main roads in Spain have always radiated out from here. Puerto del Sol's bronze bear dining on berries has become a popular meeting spot. The image of a berry-eating bear has been deeply symbolic to the city of Madrid since the 1200s. This wonderfully burly bronze is not antique at all. It was created in 1967 for the Spanish government. And I get a kick that they say that's berries on that tree, so I don't, and here in America, no berries grow on trees, right? So I can't imagine what kind of berries grow on a tree. One quick last scene from Madrid, flamenco dancing. Flamenco is an iconic dance originally from southern Spain. You can enjoy its elegance, beauty, and unique musical rhythms. And now, on the road again. Flamenco is certainly not the only traditional Spanish music. These parade dancers are dancing the jota, another traditional Spanish form of music and dance. And I was going to show you what this music sounded like, but I can't make that link work, so we'll skip it. It's kind of a simple sounding song, tune, I mean. Putting this Spain sampling together was so hard because it was impossible to choose what to showcase. And for as many things that are here, there are dozens more worthy sites that are not. Probably thousands. But to keep the show on the track, we'll get on the road now and head a bit north to Segovia to see an original Roman aqueduct, and then on to Toledo, which is a bit south of Madrid. The history-rich town of Segovia in central Spain is about an hour northwest of Madrid. Their medieval city walls still stand, and remarkably, so does its 2,000-year-old, 100-foot-high Roman aqueduct. In ancient times, the 9-mile-long structure carried water to the town's 50,000 residents. Segovia has about that many residents today, too. The aqueduct has more than 100 arches, all built from solid granite blocks and constructed without mortar. You can actually climb a grand staircase to its top from the plaza below. Here's a street scene inside the walled city of Segovia, and a wider view is the cathedral, which dominates every view of Segovia. Moving on to Toledo, south of Madrid. The town of Toledo is so well preserved, the entire city was declared a national monument. You won't see any modern buildings in Toledo. Toledo's Old Town area was designated a World Heritage City in 1986. Toledo was the cosmopolitan heart of Spain in the Middle Ages. From the 1300s to the 1500s, it was Spain's imperial city. Moors, Jews, Christians all thrived peacefully together for centuries in Toledo, with each group contributing their own unique strengths, designs, and cultures. It's so hard to conceive of the history of some of Spain's structures and cities. For example, this ancient bridge, the Alcantara, outside the city of Toledo, was completed by the Romans in the year 4 AD under Emperor Trajan. He wrote, "This bridge will last forever," which it sort of has. Though over the centuries, a lot of the original stonework was replaced and its arches have been rebuilt. But Toledo was a city long before the Romans took it over and encircled it with their wall. Parts of Trajan's Roman wall still stand today. The walled city of Toledo rises behind it. Toledo is a hilltop city. If you approach it from a bus or a train, you'll need to enter the city from the depot located far, far below. And you'll join fellow walkers on a tall series of escalators and covered walkways that will bring you up to and through Toledo's ancient walls. I couldn't find a picture of people going up the escalator, so only going down, but you get the idea. It's nice that they have them, right? In the olden days, can you imagine?
Yeah, we didn't have them.
You didn't have them then?
No.
So, did your bus go up? You had to walk up. Oh my gosh. That must have taken a long time to get up to the top. Built in the 10th century, this gate was once the principal gateway into the ancient walled city of Toledo. Though many Spanish cities have historic quarters, only Toledo still looks about like it looked in the medieval era, largely due to the old Roman wall that has surrounded it since it was built in the 1st century AD. As you approach Toledo from any direction, you'll see Alcazar Fortress. Built in the 3rd century on Toledo's highest point, it initially was used as a Roman palace. Over the ensuing centuries, Alcazar has served as a castle, a fortress, a prison, military headquarters, and a home for the kings of Spain. It currently houses a military museum. This photo may show some original stonework from the ancient wall, but even that stonework doesn't look as old as it probably would be if it were original. Lassoed into a tight maze of lanes, Toledo has a confusing medieval street plan, but major sites are well signed. This is a look inside Toledo's oldest synagogue with its pillars and ceramic floor mosaics. It's built in the style of an Islamic mosque. The synagogue dates from about the year 1200 AD. You can see up in the top right, there's a Jewish Star of David, up in that carving. The floor tiles are just incredible. Like many major cities in Spain, Toledo was in Islamic hands for many centuries. The building that was the Islamic mosque before the Middle Ages was torn down, and in the early 1200s, Toledo's Gothic cathedral started to rise in its place. Construction continued for the next 200 years. It's now widely considered to be Spain's most gorgeous Gothic cathedral. Many Gothic cathedrals in Iberia, not just Toledo's, were constructed over the remains of their city's Moorish mosque. The Gothic cathedral has many, many entrance portals, but just one tower. It stands next to this entrance, the Portal of the Lions, Puerta de los Leones. I don't know if you say Leones or Leones. Wasn't quite sure how you say that one. This is a closer look at a lion atop the central pillar outside this entrance. Behind him is just the top of the Puerta de los Leones. I think the lion in the Wizard of Oz movie must be modeled after this guy. We're looking at the front of the Toledo Cathedral. Many Spanish cathedrals have similar elaborate and gorgeous colorful celebrations of Jesus' life behind their altars at the fronts. I couldn't find a very clear picture of this, but it's incredibly colorful, and I think all that's gold and, real gold probably surrounding it. Did you go inside of there, Maureen? Wow. I bet you have some beautiful pictures.
It was awesome.
It looks so tall too, right? It just seems like it's so tall inside. Okay, we'll take a real quick glance at one last site, the Alhambra Palace in Granada, in southern Spain. This is just half the width of the sprawling Alhambra Palace in Granada. The next slide will show you the other half, and the insert shows you why I couldn't show it all at once. The Alhambra Palace is a huge and exquisite example of Moorish architectural ingenuity and skill. The Moors were Muslims from North Africa who took over the Iberian Peninsula a very long time ago. They ruled it long before the Christians gained supremacy. Under Moorish leadership from about the year 700 to 1400 AD, architecture, mathematics, astronomy, and literature thrived. The Moors built the Alhambra to be a walled citadel to keep them safe from invaders. It's one of Europe's top sites, all of Europe's top sites. It's surrounded by a forest, now cultivated and kept moist to avoid fire, although I don't know how it's going to do in this heat. I imagine you've heard about all the forest fires raging in Spain. I think they're more to the north, so far anyways. Hopefully these trees will remain safe for centuries to come. The origins of the Alhambra are mysterious. It's thought that the buildings may have been located there. It's thought the buildings may have been located there since Roman times. In the early 19th century, French Napoleonic forces destroyed part of the palace and attempted to blow up the entire site. Restoration work began in the mid-1800s and continues to this day. The Alhambra is filled top to bottom with exquisite Moorish architecture and carvings that include calligraphy in a variety of cursive scripts. Most people in the West hadn't known anything about the Alhambra Palace till Washington Irving wrote Tales of the Alhambra in 1832 while he was living in it. If his name doesn't immediately ring a bell, Washington Irving also wrote Rip Van Winkle and The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, two books a lot of folks my age grew up with. I'll end our visual tour of this tiny sliver of Spain with a few more images from the Alhambra. Gorgeous tiles on the floors of many of the rooms. And more exquisite tile work and calligraphy on the walls. It's so hard to imagine building something like that without modern equipment. And finally, Alhambra's amazing Court of the Lions with its central fountain of lions spouting water. It's hard to see, but there's actually water coming out of their mouths. But now we need to return home to our little corner of the world. At the Rolling Meadows Library, you can find out more about the places we visited tonight. When I checked our catalog using the keywords Spain and travel, I counted over 50 books and movies just about going to Spain. And of course, we have hundreds of books, movies, and digital resources that'll help you adventure anywhere in the world. I brought quite a few of the books up and put them on the table, but there's plenty more downstairs too. If you're not familiar with our online catalog or with discovering our holdings through your computer, please come see us in the reference department and we'll help you get started. How do you decide what to choose when there are so many different travel guides for each country? They all cover the basics, so take home several and use the ones that are most comfortable for you. Head left when you walk in the library and go to the 900s, or just ask at the reference desk. And you'll find a wealth of travel DVDs too. Just turn to your right after you enter the library. This is just a small sampling. We have lots of others, so please browse through them. My favorite travel DVDs at our library are the ones created by Rick Steves. His DVD Europe, the 20-year anthology, Part 2, includes a DVD with 8 shows that are solely about Spain. And a set of all of his 80 public television shows includes one DVD with 2.5 hours of shows about regions in Spain. So he clearly must be fascinated with it too. This is his actual website, which I encourage you to go to because everything on it is clickable and you can watch TV shows and clips and travel talks and even listen to him giving audio tours. It's pretty incredible. Do you guys use Rick Steves when you travel too?
Us, we haven't actually used a travel agency or whatever yet. We're just retired, so.
You're just getting started?
We're retired, but then it was pandemic.
Yeah, well, I encourage you to go to ricksteves.com and check it out. Because he's got, he mainly does Europe, any place in Europe.
Been to England this year, so I've
Yeah.
So we've been in London.
Well, now you'll have more time.
We were in Paris, in Scotland, but with
Nice.
family, family and stuff, so we're hoping to do a tour.
Any TV show or video featuring travel advice from Rick Steves provides truly fantastic glimpses of wonderful destinations. He's such a travel expert. This is just from his Sweden page, but any place in Europe he's got covered. At ricksteves.com, on your computer or on ours, you can see tons of TV shows about Spain or anywhere else. And if you have a PC and a Chromecast, which is a little dongle that you can put into the back of your TV set, you can actually view from your computer on your TV set at home. I have one of those and I just love it because I'm a cheapskate and I never subscribe to any TV stations, but I just play everything from my computer and watch it on my TV, which is perfect. No matter what kind of library materials you'd like to find, investigate, or renew, you'll want to get the RML app. Do you have our library's app on your device? If you do, all of our resources are at your fingertips, and all of our digital resources are readable and borrowable wherever you are, whenever you want. You just go to the App Store, so it would be like Google Play or the iStore, and search for Rolling Meadows Library, 3 separate words. Then there's no need to carry heavy books in your luggage. You can use our app when you're online to download digital books and magazines to your phone or tablet. More magazines are actually available digitally than what's available in print in the library. And then you can read what you've downloaded anytime, anywhere, even when you have no connection. When you are on Wi-Fi, use our app to renew, place holds, and download more. Here's a quick glimpse at how that works. You would open up your device and click eLibrary once you have the app, and then choose a category, or click one of the app logos pictured here on the right to see what it will offer you. With Digital Library, which is the one on the far left, you can search for all kinds of online resources. Canopy gives you access to thousands of movies, including lots of documentaries. And Libby is ebooks, audiobooks, and magazines. Hoopla, which most people think of as a movie